I asked 80,000 designers what their biggest problem was as a freelancer, and I discovered one huge mistake, losing them thousands of dollars a year. And that problem was that they didn't know how to price themselves. To find a solution to this, I did my own research into the matter, and that is where I noticed the big mistake that designers and creative freelancers were making. And what is that, you might ask? Charging an hourly rate for projects. Yes, if you are doing this, you are quite literally leaving thousands of dollars a year, if not a month, on the table. But if you're a freelancer who doesn't charge hourly, don't think that this doesn't involve you too. I continued my research and I actually found a lot of creatives that charge a project rate are making a big mistake that is costing them money. But before we dive into what that is, why should we avoid charging an hourly rate? Well, charging by the hour actually punishes you for being good. See, if we were to look at me when I first started and me today, I'm twice as quick when it comes to working on client projects. Why? Mainly because my skill and experience level has increased dramatically, but there are other factors such as introducing systems and workflows that have made me more productive and efficient. So why, as designers, would we charge an hourly rate and earn less because we're skilled, fast, and efficient? Why get paid for our time when we can get paid for our expertise? Surely, if you can design a logo that the client loves in a quicker time frame, they should pay you more, not less, because in business, time is money. Okay, so now we understand why we should avoid charging an hourly rate. How do we go about navigating this with a client who wants us to bill them by the hour? Well, for this, let's take a look at a scenario. I've just received an email by someone inquiring about my branding services.
I'm interested in getting a logo design for my new business. Can you give me more information on what you provide and how much it will cost?
A couple of days later, I jump on a discovery call with the potential client in the hopes to find out more information about this project. Towards the end of the call, the client asked the dreaded and always awkward question.
So, how much would it cost for you to design my logo?
I went on to explain my usual price range for this type of project.
Yeah, so with past projects with similar deliverables, it would be around the region of 2k to 3k, but I can send you a specific price after I put together the proposal.
The client seems hesitant about this and is eager to find out more about my price.
If you don't mind, could I ask what your hourly rate is?
I respond asking them why, as I only charge on a project rate basis.
It's just that I'd like to know exactly where my money's going if I were to go ahead with this project.
I deflect their question and instead try to educate them on why I don't charge an hourly rate.
So if I work less hours on this project, I should charge you less.
The client nods, signaling that he agrees with the statement.
Okay, so with that logic, if the design happens to take any longer, I should then charge you more.
Again, they nod, slightly more apprehensive this time.
So from what I've said, you value the project taking longer rather than shorter because you're willing to pay me more if I then spend more time on it.
I then explained to them that I could go on to spend 3 months on the design and then end up invoicing them double the project rate. And then they respond with something that was key.
So, why would it take that long to make a logo? I could just hire someone at the same hourly rate who will do it quicker.
Here comes the light bulb moment. P.S. The client has just contradicted themselves, so this is where you can explain why you charge per project, not hourly.
So you value time over money then?
The client then responds with his trademark nod of the head, and this was my cue to wrap up the explanation.
So I've been in the industry for probably over 7 years, and I've become very skilled, which has enabled me to work very fast on designs. But by your logic, I would be getting punished by being efficient.
I then go on to explain to the client how their previous logic doesn't work now, and by charging by the hour actually punishes me for being good.
Okay. Yes, I can see where you're coming from.
Because I'd explained this to the client, they completely understood and were happy for me to send over a brand proposal containing a project rate as a follow-up to our call. To quickly recap before we move on to the mistake that you might be making if you're charging a project rate, when charging an hourly rate, the clients are normally price shopping and will pay you for the time spent working rather than the value provided. The majority of businesses value time over money, but as a designer, charging by the hour punishes you for working quickly. So if anything, If the client wants their logo done in a shorter time frame, you should charge them a higher project rate, not lower. So what's the right way to price a project then? Put simply, price per project. But do not fall into this trap that again can lose your business a lot of money. That trap being that a lot of business owners don't adjust their flat project fee depending on the deliverables of the project and don't adjust the pricing depending on the perceived value that it will provide to the client and their business. The value and goal of the outcome of each project will be completely different for each business. Let's say you've got a car dealership that makes $25,000 a month and a cake business that makes $3,000 a month. The car dealership has a wider budget to invest into branding compared to the cake business. The value and investment they're going to get out of the project is going to be higher than the cake business, which is where you can use value-based pricing. This means basing your project price as a percentage of the value you bring to your client's business instead of using a fixed rate for every project. To wrap this up and really drive this point home, let me tell you a little story about Picasso. He was in a restaurant just about to order some food when he was approached by an admirer. She asked, "Could you do me a quick sketch on this napkin for me? I'm a huge fan of your work." Picasso agreed and quickly drew something up. But before handing the napkin back to the lady, he said, "That will be 1 million francs. The lady looked shocked. "What? That only took you 5 minutes?" And because Picasso knew better to trade his time for money, he replied as cool as you like, "No, it took me 40 years to draw this in 5 minutes. Be like Picasso and value your time and experience. You're giving more to a client project than just your time. Now you know why you shouldn't charge an hourly rate and how to properly price a project. But what about if you want to increase your prices? Well, there are 2 things that you can do right now that will help with that. First is adding extra value to your business, and an easy way that you can do this is to head over to my shop and pick up some of my free and paid templates that will take your business to the next level. And the second thing, well, in order to increase your prices, you need to increase your demand. So that means you need to watch this video right here where I go over exactly how you can get clients using social media. I'll see you over there.